Hi, I'm Coach Charmaine, your host, and welcome to Get Out of Your Own Way, the podcast. A podcast where we discuss all things leadership development, personal growth, and have real conversations about the hurdles, some of the pitfalls that we experience when we're trying to reach our goals. The mission of this podcast is to bring tips, strategies, things that you can actually use to help you achieve success. And what's success? Success is how you describe it, not anyone else. So sit back, relax, but lock in, let's commit, and let's go. Hello, guys. So welcome to the Get Out of Your Way podcast. I'm your girl, Charmaine, and we are well into December. And it's such an exciting time. And I say that because 2024 is wrapping up. We're going into 2025. And I want to make sure that my goal crushers, which are you, and if you're listening, I'm pointing at the camera, you're my goal crushers. And I want to make sure that you guys are set up for success for the new year. And oftentimes we think about 2024, or we think about as a year as it's coming to an end, and we set New Year's resolutions. But I want to challenge you to change those New Year's resolutions into a true growth plan and strategy. And the reason why I say that is because if this is your first time tuning in to me, there are 98% of people who fail to achieve their New Year's resolutions. And I want you to be in the top 2%. Yep, absolutely. So instead of New Year's resolutions, we are focusing on a growth plan. And so during this season or this session of my first podcast, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about growth plans and how you can be successful and some tips and strategies so that you can achieve your goals for 2025. And so we're talking about some pitfalls that can occur, and I'm even going to say will occur, pitfalls and some hurdles that will occur as you're looking to achieve your goals for the new year. And so we've talked about quite a few, but in today's episode, I want us to chat about some motivation and discipline issues, and also some external factors that can come into play also that will keep you from reaching your goals. So if you're ready, let's dive on in. So motivation and discipline issues. Lack of self-discipline pretty much is described as the difficulty of being able to stay committed to a plan and following through with actions. And I'm going to tell you, we're all there. We have all been there where we're like, oh my gosh, if I could just make this happen, stay disciplined and keep it going, then I feel really good about myself. And so when you think about putting a plan into place, whether it's, oh, I want to eat healthier, or I want to exercise, or I want to be a better listener, or I really want to make sure that I am there for my family and supporting my family, things happen. And discipline is difficult. And I read once before that motivation is short-lived, but when you have the discipline to make something happen continuously, that's where you realize success. So if you think about it, when you approach something new, there's going to be times where you're going to kind of fall off the wagon. Again, we all have been there. I have been there as well. But the key is that don't stay off of the wagon. And this stuff is so simple, goal crushers, but it's difficult to do, right? So if you go into something knowing that you're going to have a time where you're not going to have the discipline that you would like to continue on your specific goal, if you approach it knowing that, then your mind is better set with being able and prepared to overcome. So lack of self-discipline can definitely keep you from your goals. But if you go into the mindset of, okay, I got this, I'm going to make it happen, and you already know that it could be a pitfall or a hurdle, then 9 times out of 10, you'll be able to get back on the horse, so to speak. So, another hurdle or pitfall that comes into play when it comes to motivation or having discipline issues is procrastination. And so we've all been there, and I call it the procrastination monster, right? If there's something that is going to be a challenge or something that you frankly don't want to do, what happens? We procrastinate, right? In NLP, neuro linguistic programming, a methodology that I use in my coaching practice, we talk about reframing the mindset. And so, if there's something that you have to do, if you reframe the way that you're approaching that particular task, and you reframe it in a way that you're understanding that it's going to benefit you and it's going to help you, 9 times out of 10, you'll get over that procrastination hurdle. And so change is difficult. Leveling up is difficult. And so if you think about reframing the approach to your growth plan, then you won't procrastinate in putting it together and taking action. And it's just not about the growth plan, it's also about anything in life that you may particularly be approaching and you're procrastinating and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this. Well, guess what? I have been there too. We've all been there. And the great thing about the majority of us, we know when we're procrastinating. So when you get to the point to where you're like, oh, yeah, man, I'm procrastinating about this, that's the moment where you can make the shift, the mindset shift that you need to move forward. New year, new focused you. Let's really dive in and make the growth plan happen. Okay, so procrastination monster, it's there. We all have it. He's always right here or she's always right here, but it's a hurdle that can be overcome. All right. So, another discipline issue is having low motivation. And so, I describe low motivation as not having a strong enough why. And for those that are listening, I've got my air quotes going on because we've heard that quite a bit. What's your why? But if you're able to identify that why and you can really speak it, that why will definitely help you to drive the change that you need to ultimately reach the goals that you have for yourself. And so defining that is extremely, extremely key. And I think about reflection, and I believe we've talked about reflection in the past, but reflection is such a powerful tool. I definitely have reflection parts and tips for reflection in the complimentary download that I have on my website. But reflection is key, and taking the time to actually reflect on your past experiences, those that you are proud of, those that you want to change, that will definitely help you define your why. And oftentimes we hear that, oh, what's your why? Tell me your why. Why are you existing? Well, it doesn't have to be this grandiose idea, right? It can be, what's your why for this season? What's the why that you have for the growth that you're putting in place or the goal that you want to achieve? And if you find yourself having that low motivation, taking a sit back, doing some reflection, and again, really speaking to what that why is, can definitely help you to get over that hurdle. And like I mentioned, to drive change. And so I think that when we have taken the time to define why we are working to grow, working to develop, then we will realize success, because we've all been there where we have suffered from low motivation, no matter what it is. But what's important, and that I really want you to take away from this, is that when you're feeling like you're not motivated to do something, you already have what's needed within you to overcome in that moment. You have what's needed in you to definitely make and drive the change to reach your goals. Some other external factors that I want to talk about that could definitely go kind of weave into motivation and discipline issues as you're looking to achieve your goals is time constraints. And so we and I'm putting myself in this, we have all been there where we have said, I just don't have time for this. I don't have the time to sit down and really think about what I want to achieve. I don't have the time to take a couple of hours to actually reflect on the year. I don't have the time to sit down and journal. Heck, I don't even have the time to sit still, right? But keep in mind that a real good thought out growth plan is going to address 5 facets of your life. You have to think of this as important enough to take the time out. Those facets are your personal part of your life, your professional, your finances, your physical health, and spiritual. And for those of you that don't really have a spiritual outlook on life, I always say you can throw in your environment as well. There could be parts of your home that you'd like to declutter, or your office, or what have you. And so, really taking the opportunity to sit still and work on a growth plan is key to continuing to achieve your goals. And so, if you're feeling overwhelmed by work, if you're feeling overwhelmed by your family, or if you're feeling overwhelmed by your commitments, I really do challenge you to manage yourself versus your time. And that is a notion of mine that I speak to regularly, that it's not about time management, because we all have the same amount of time in a day. It's what do you do to manage yourself to make sure that you're able to check off all of those things that are on your list. And putting together a growth plan is definitely a behavior and a discipline that will help you to continue to elevate. So, time constraint is an external factor that will keep you from achieving your goals. And so, we've all been there. You will have times when you're working on this growth plan that you say to yourself, I really don't have the time to do this. That's when you have to dig in, pull on that reframe that I spoke to earlier, shift the mindset, and get busy. I promise you, you won't regret it, and it'll be worth it. Okay, and so another external factor that can become a hurdle or a pitfall to achieving your goals and working on a growth plan is financial limitations. And let's keep it real. We all have them. Doesn't matter where you are in your life. A lot of us, we think about that. And I like to use the phrase invest in you. If you're thinking that you don't have the resources to work on yourself, to partner with a coach, to purchase a couple of self-help books, to continue to elevate yourself, whether it's learning a new skill or going back to school. I ask you the question, can you afford not to? If you're not working on something that is challenging you, then you're not growing. So, perceiving the cost of self development courses or activities as a barrier is a true hurdle and pitfall. And so, it's cool to listen to podcasts because they don't cost you anything, right? And it's cool to talk to your friends or talk to family. It's cool to pull your circle of influence to help you level up and to help you get motivated. But you have to make the decision that these types of tools and resources are worth the investment. Do not allow that to be your reason for not continuing to develop and achieving the goals that you want to achieve. And lastly, one of the external factors that I'd like to talk to is the lack of support. Do you have a network of supportive people that are around you that can encourage you and that can help to hold you accountable? Find a couple of those people, whether it's a partner at work, whether it's your spouse or a loved one, a family member, a friend, a coach. Because if you have that support circle, you're more apt to be successful and achieve the things that you want to achieve. So, with that, the mission of this podcast and really the mission of this series is to help us go into the new year with a true, tried, and proven plan to be successful. And as I mentioned before, if you take the tips and we start to put these things into action, and you put the growth plan down on paper, and don't worry, like I said, I've got a downloadable, free, complimentary growth plan for you. So just visit my website, www.coachchermaine.com. Let's take some action. Let's really go into the new year, new you, new year, actually, and new focused you, because together we can really make this happen. We can do this. You can realize the aspirations and the goals that you have for yourself in your life. I have no doubt that you can. But what's important is that you believe it too. So, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. I really do hope that this has helped you because, as I say all the time, when I am coaching you, I'm also coaching myself. So please follow me at Coach Chermaine on IG. Also, you can subscribe right here on YouTube, or you can take a look at my website, www.coachchermaine.com. And as always, make it a great day because you can.